welcome back, everybody. We have an amazing panel, and this is part two of a panel. And we have some amazing people with us today, which are sharing testimonies of what the hell is going on right now. And the more you look at Sister Beth's testimony, and you're going to hear from Mark Steele, who is a 5G weapons expert and can look at this from a technological point of view, and also Sister Cheryl, we're going to start to see emerge a very strong sister. There is Sister Lauren as well, who's supposed to be with us from the United States, but hopefully, we haven't seen her yet, but hopefully she will be able to come in. Now, to pick it up from what you were saying, Sister Beth, so basically they were making up all of these lies about your grandson in order to take him away and get the blood. Is that what you experienced? Or
that's exactly what was happening. And obviously we realized that there was something untoward that was going on. So we said, well, because it just didn't make sense. They didn't do any preparations. If a child was in dire straits of an emergency operation, number one, you wouldn't tell the mother to join to make her way to the hospital. You phone for an ambulance. You get an ambulance to the parent. That was indication number one. And then when you got to the hospital, you didn't do anything apart from just continue, just have a vested interest in withdrawing blood from this poor child that was only 5 months old. It was just bizarre. And we then said, as you know, that we were okay. If that is the case, if what you're telling us is the case, allow us, because obviously the child doesn't appear to be in any imminent danger. We would like to go away and have a second opinion. Who told us to say that word? Second opinion. Leave this hospital. We want you to stay right where you are. Literally, was what it was. A chief medical person from the children's ward was there, and I'm going to call her name out. I don't give a thing. Emma Codrington of Milton Keynes University Hospital.
What's her name? Emma
Codrington.
Coggington.
Emma Codrington. Emma Codrington. Yes, that's the one. Yes.
Okay. Milton Keynes University
Hospital.
Okay.
Yes. So when we said that we, as a family, we appreciate what has been said, we're not refusing any treatment, but however, we believe that it is, customary. If a person wants to have a second opinion, they should be free to be able to do so. So with that being said, we said that we wanted to leave to go and have a second opinion. Now, this was within the time scale of around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Would you believe there was so much stalling? They didn't want us to leave the hospital. She then started to say, well, the child is in danger and we're going to have to get the courts, we're going to have to get a court order in place. Well, we thought, court order for what? Because you hadn't done anything. You're making accusations of these seizures, which was not the case at all. And subsequently, myself and my daughter, we left the hospital. But while we were leaving, the words that Emma Codrington then voiced to us, that I will do whatever it takes to get this baby brought back to this hospital.
Wow. So the baby's being seen as a resource.
Sorry?
The baby's being seen as a resource.
Yes.
To facilitate the blood giving.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And had we continued, had my daughter stayed in that hospital, if I'm really honest, I don't think my grandson would be here. They had an ulterior motive for the mother as well, because, I think that they really wanted to get hold of the baby, do what they needed to do, and they would have sectioned her. So we made the right steps to get out of Milton Keynes, but when my daughter did, because she subsequently got out of Milton Keynes, she went to London. During this course of the time, my older daughter that resides in London, she works for the NHS, and she has a very good team that she works with there. And my daughter was able to scan over via phone. The daughter in Milton Keynes was able to send over my grandson's medical notes. And my daughter in Milton Keynes intercepted that, and then she sent it on to her medical team that she works for at the doctor surgery that she works for. And this doctor took a look at my grandson's medical notes and made confirmation that the baby was just lacking in vitamin C and D. And literally all the baby needs to do was be prescribed the medication of calciferol and something else and the vitamin C supplements, and have a checkup in 6 weeks' time, based on all the details of the baby's stats, medical stats.
Okay, so can I ask you a question? What would be the effect of continuously taking blood from a 5-month-old baby? Surely that would deplete him on a certain level.
Yes, and that's what they wanted to do. So basically, if they, because let me just cut to the chase. I believe that they wanted to organ harvest my grandson, parts of his. I believe so.
Wow.
Yeah. And so therefore, when you're taking the bloods, you're going to weaken the baby, so that whatever operation you're going to do, the baby's not going to survive it.
Wow. I'm sorry that you went through that. That is so traumatic and harrowing. I cannot imagine what you experience as a family, particularly your daughter, the mother of the child. I mean, how did she deal with this situation?
Well, it was traumatic because when she got to London, her partner in Milton Keynes, and before she got to London, her partner in Milton Keynes advised us, because I was with her. Like I said, she doesn't drive, I'm the one that drives. And we was just en route back to her place. And something said, you know what, let's not go straight back. We just decided to branch off to the supermarket to go and get some stuff. Anyway, he texted her and said, the police are here. So with that being said, that alarms us even more. There must have been 20 police that arrived at my daughter's home in Milton Keynes.
For the baby?
For the baby. I mean, you have to look at the footage. I think you would have seen the footage on my TikTok. And if any viewers are there, go onto It's Real Life. I've got it all uploaded on my YouTube channel. Take a look on there.
What's your YouTube and TikTok, just so that anybody can go and have a look and see this for themselves? Because there are lots of people suffering from this right now. And I want to get your feeling in terms of what do you think is going on? You know, let's cut to the chase with this. First of all, what is your information that people can go and have a look at that video? You don't have access to it right now, so we can't share it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well,
my YouTube channel is called It's Real Life.
It's Real Life.
On YouTube.
So ITS Real Life. Spelt normally.
Yeah, Real Life joined together.
Okay,
Real
so
Life joined together.
Real Life.
Real Life.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about on TikTok? You were called Beth O.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the first TikTok page that I had, they've taken that down because I've been exposing what's been going on. I have subsequently got a new TikTok channel, and it's also called Beth O. And it's got breaking news. So when you look at that breaking news, that's the profile picture. If you go on to Beth O, you'll see breaking news, and that is my page.
So is that channel Beth O, the first one, is that gone now?
That's been banned, yeah.
What?
Because of the fact that, yeah, they took that down.
Wow.
They took that down on Friday. They removed that channel. They banned. saying that I committed
Wow.
community violations.
Wow. You
Obviously,
know
because
what? I want to, my sister, I want to say this to everybody here. Truth is a superpower.
yes,
Right now, truth is a superpower and it is kryptonite to a wicked, lying, demonic devil. This is
yeah,
why it's so important that everybody, if you don't have a truth to share yourself, a personal testimony like our sister and everybody here, share hers, share this, because the faster the truth is circulated amongst people, it is kryptonite to shut the evil wickedness down. They go into extremes whereby they're spending billions of pounds to stop the truth reaching people. Mark Steele is in banned. I've heard Mark Steele being spoken about in disgusting ways by people. I've heard myself, because of the truth that I'm telling of the evil they've done
yes,
to me for the last 20 years. They have their people that go around spreading lies, deception, because what they are terrified of is the truth. It's the
That
truth.
was a topic of conversation during the court case. Who is this Beth O? Why are you interested in social media while you're dealing with the case? But my page was a topic of conversation because it was exposing everything, and I
Wow.
will continue to expose
Wow.
because it
So,
needs to be out there.
wow. Because, there's a lot of testimonies, and then you've seen them yourself on many, many platforms of people going through the same thing. All of a sudden, they find that their child is in jeopardy, and all kinds of situations are coming up. So, I think you will give an insight to people who are experiencing the other side of SRA, which is Satanic Ritualistic Abuse,
Rituals.
because that's what
Yeah,
we're dealing with, really.
yeah.
Now, tell me, you had a court case, just to touch on that before you go, because I know you have to leave. What was the court case? Was it to do with all of this?
It was to do with all of this because they subsequently, like I said, the police arrived at my daughter's home in Milton Keynes. They questioned her partner, saying that, oh, your son is being kidnapped, and he said, kidnapped by who? And he said, by your partner. So he said, how can my partner kidnap her own son? If that is what you're coming with, that narrative you're coming with, I'm
Wow.
okay. The baby is with his mother. That's who he should be with. Anyway, they tracked my daughter down to London. They damaged the door. They raided my daughter home in London, and my daughter was then arrested. And they wanted to bring my daughter. Well, they wasn't arrested. She wasn't arrested at that precise time. They said that they needed to take the baby back to the hospital. Now, what hospital do you think, based in London? Yes. What hospital do you think that they wanted to take that baby back to?
Milton Keynes, obviously.
Right,
Back to the
right,
same woman who said she will
right,
raise hell and
right.
high water.
Yes. So
Wow.
my daughter said, but hang on, you said that my baby's in risk of dying. So we shouldn't be traveling over an hour on the motorway to go to Milton Keynes University Hospital. We're going to go to the nearest hospital, which was St George's Hospital in Tooting. So subsequently, that's where my daughter ended up going with the baby. And, I have to say right now, and the family has to say, that we were very happy with the treatment that the baby was receiving at Milton Keynes, because all they did at Milton Keynes at St George's Hospital was to give the baby what the baby was deprived of, which was vitamin C and vitamin D, which they gave the baby intravenously, just so that it would speed up the effectiveness on it. So the baby was at St George's Hospital, okay? They then arrested my daughter at the hospital, which she was then taken to Brixton Police Station. And while she was in Brixton Police Station, they kept filing proposed matter after proposed matter into the courts, okay? Into Milton Keynes courts, magistrates courts. So with that being said, my daughter was in police custody. She was then bailed eventually.
So,
My
whoa. Wait a minute. You're telling me the mother of the children, the mother of the child, for what crime? What crime did she do?
Because they based it on neglect for the fact that she left the hospital.
Wow.
To have a
This
second
is very
opinion.
important testimony here, because we need to be, you know, community is everything right now, because they're operating as a tight knit of people, these satanic people. And whenever they want something, they come together. And this is why we have to come together as communities of people, like we're doing on this panel today. We have to become tighter than tight so that we can keep our eye on what is happening. And when somebody comes after one, everybody stands up, you know. So basically, your daughter is arrested. That's shocking. That's disturbing.
Yeah,
Wow.
and while she was in police custody, they were filing all this paperwork. They call it proposed matters, filing it into Milton Keynes Court.
They called it what? Sorry?
It's social services term for files. Basically, you know, we have concerns, grave concerns about the baby. We have great concerns about the mum.
But what's it called? Matters. What's it called? You use the term just so that I didn't hear it.
Proposed matters.
Proposed matters.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So with that, my ex-husband obviously said that, you know, he too was a bit concerned of what was going on. Well, not a bit, but he was obviously concerned. And so he decided to file an application in the Royal Court of Justice. Okay. And to be honest with you, that was a real godsend, because she attended that hearing.
Your
at
daughter?
The Royal Court of Justice. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, what did you file? Because I didn't hear it. I apologize. What was it that you filed in the Royal Courts of Justice? Harassment?
Well, my husband filed his own case regarding the Milton Keynes, regarding the baby, saying that basically it was just under the terminology that he wants this case to be heard in the Royal Court of Justice, and the right presidento to be considered. Basically saying that he wanted it to be heard with the integrity of in true life form, with the integrity of what had happened, because the social worker with whom took over the case was very, very vague in trying to give my daughter any information. When she said that, oh, you need to go to court, my daughter said, okay, when do I need to go to court? And the social worker, which we have on recording, turned around and said to her, well, I don't need to tell you. So she was basically trying to prevent my daughter attending court, so it would look like she wasn't bothered.
Wow.
And so what happened at the Royal Court of Justice, my daughter ended up having 2 court hearings on the same day. One that they wanted her to attend in Milton Keynes, and the other one that she attended, obviously, in the Royal Court of Justice. And the judge at that time, when they were mouthing off all these mistruths about my daughter, saying that we don't know where the mother is. We don't know where the mother is. She's not been in contact with us. This time they knew, because the Emma Codrington who went to the court, obviously got my daughter arrested, because she put in a claim to the police station in Brixton, saying that you need to arrest her because she's left the hospital and neglected the baby. Going back to the Royal Court of Justice, the judge then said, hang on a minute, because they were trying to say that they couldn't find the mother. They said, well, the mother's right here. The judge said, let me hold you one moment. I have 4 decent people here. Now, the 4 decent people that were in that courtroom at that time was my daughter, her partner, my partner's brother, and my ex-husband. So the judge then said, may I stop you one moment? We have 4 decent people. And she then signaled to the usher to pan down So the four of them seated. As soon as the camera went on my daughter, a partner, and my ex-husband and brother, all those other people's faces, according to what my daughter said, they were in awe. They could not believe that they were in that courtroom. And so that's when a lot of the lies started to unfold, because you are claiming that you didn't know where my daughter was, but you didn't bother to tell the judge that you had her arrested. You know?
So what was the outcome of the hearing?
Well, this hearing went on. We only just finished it within the last 2 weeks. It was, as you can imagine, my daughter was deprived of a breastfeeding experience because she wasn't able to breastfeed the baby since the baby was away from her for 2 months. My grandson son started crawling in her absence. She managed to have contacts with the baby.
Where was the baby all of this time? Sorry, where was the baby? Where was it?
The baby was under their care, having what we believe a medical research.
Wow. So they did.
We believe the baby was having medical research because the baby was taken to Cambridge. And the other thing that I obviously have to tell the audience, not only did they go after my grandson, they then went after my granddaughter because they wanted to do 36 X-rays on my granddaughter I believe it's to do with her bones, to do with her bone structure. They used both of these children as medical research in Cambridge.
So all of this harassment and trauma was really in order to use as a guise to be able to experiment upon your grandchildren. Is that what you're saying here?
And they thought that they were going to get away with it, but we were adamant, especially, like I said, you've seen my TikTok, yourself. We weren't going to let not one of them get away with what we were doing, because we had our evidence. We had the proof that there was nothing wrong with the baby apart from the vitamin D and C deficiency. My granddaughter was already checked out at St. George's because, yet again, intuition and gut, my daughter decided to take my granddaughter to the hospital. We want you to do a full check on my daughter. She's had a bit of a cold and what have you. And they passed it and gave my granddaughter a clean bill of health. They said, oh, she's just got the usual cold that toddlers have at that time. Just give her some Calpol and she'll be fine. But they still went for my granddaughter.
Wow. That's
anyway, just to bring everybody back up to par, it was a big struggle for these 2 months. But I'm happy to say that my grandchildren were returned back to my daughter within the last week, Wednesday week.
After so much trauma, oh wow, yeah. I'm so happy. When I saw your message, I was like, oh my God, because sometimes you see these stories. Sorry, I just wanted to say, you see these stories and sometimes the conclusion doesn't come, sometimes the ending is so traumatic.
I just need to get this important.
You did get them. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just need to get this important bit across.
Yeah.
That, if anybody ever finds themselves in this situation, the most important thing is to record. Because when they went for my granddaughter, it was on a live YouTube show, so it was caught live, and subsequently, even when they went for my daughter prior to her being arrested, family members got the phones out and they started recording. Those things are very, very vital. I know it doesn't seem that it's the most appropriate thing to do, but that comes as your visual evidence, because you cannot hide from the camera.
That's right. Evidence is key, everybody. Evidence is key. I would definitely say that. I'm just so happy that it is a successful outcome after the trauma that you obviously must have suffered. So is it done and dusted now, the court case and all the rest of it? Is that all done and dusted?
Yeah, well, the court case is done and dusted. What they've done is they put a 6 months intervention order on my daughter. Basically, that she has to comply with basically working, quote unquote, with oh, that's my son coming now, with social services, i.e., if you know they need to see the children, which is not a problem. There was never going to be any problem if they needed to see the children. But that's for 6 months, and that will run out in December.
Right. Okay. So have you ever thought about community assemblies and being self-governed? Because if you become self-governed as a sovereign, they cannot interfere with your life. You know, a lot of these people who are in these cults, they've become intrusive, and
Yeah.
they are violating their rule, their oath of office to the people, you know. And
Yeah.
so I'm just happy that you've had the outcome. You know, what advice would you give anybody that is in this kind of situation?
Like I said, the most important thing is to record. Like I said, do your research. You have to research the individuals, because I mean, there's so much more that I can actually say, but it's only because we're limited with time. Even some of the identity of these individuals was not even genuine. How alarming is that?
Wow.
They were using false names.
Wow.
And yes, that happened. But
Yeah,
you
of
have to do
course.
your due diligence and check out and research everything. You know,
So basically,
when you
we
have
have people operating within hospitals, within the councils, within social services, and all of these organizations that are not legitimate, is what you're saying.
that are not legitimate. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, we've heard
So
this before.
any names that you get, Google the names, check it out on Wikipedia, check out the names on LinkedIn, to get the backgrounds of some of these individuals.
Yes, because there's a lot of cons operating, and a lot of them are part of satanic cults. And they
Yes.
are literally terrorizing homes. We're all being terrorized in this country right now. I mean, the levels that they're going to. I think your testimony is very important, extremely important, and I'm just glad to see a successful outcome. So I want to try to get Mark to chime in. He's not really here at the moment. I'm going to just send him another message. And Sister Cheryl, obviously, I mean, what's your feedback, Sister Cheryl, about this situation? We have, let me just tell you, we have just about 8 minutes before this segment cuts off. What's your feeling about this? I can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself, darling.
Yeah, just listening to your story. Wow. All I can say is that what I can see is that they were hell bent, literally, on just having your kids. They've now and still trying to put just a control thing. It's almost like you belong to them in their mind.
Yes. It was definitely about
and
control.
they won't leave you alone. I mean, I've had gang stalkers above me, and I mean, all night there's been a lot of something going on up there. But just behaving as though you belong to them, and you just want to live. I mean, I was from the Windrush generation. My parents came here from the Caribbean. They were invited from Barbados to come here, and now this is
mine's the same from Guyana. Yeah.
Okay, right. So, and now this is how they're treating their offspring. Now, these people came over, worked really hard, got treated appallingly, and died with pretty much nothing. I ended up having to care for my mother for a long time, and also my father here while I was being harassed. And it's 10 years I've been going through harassment. And it's sad when you sit down and think that that's what they came here for, and they just won't leave you alone. You just want to live. I don't have a police record. I've never bothered anybody. And I mean, in your story is just appalling. And I've heard of other people's as well, where they've been messing with them and their kids. It just causes trauma. It means that it's almost like where you could swim in water and move and flow. That water is like melted Mars bars or something, and they just won't let you
Yes.
live and leave you alone. Now, I mean, it's clear what those people were doing up in Milton Keynes with, you know, from what you're saying, with just wanting, and as you said, because, and also I was worried about when you said that your daughter, is that correct, that they gave her or want to give her 36 x-rays or gave her 36 x-rays? I
Yeah.
mean, how old is she?
She was then just under 2 because she
Now,
celebrated her
yeah,
second
but
birthday
x-rays,
in her care.
as we know, if you ever going, well, you're going to have an x-ray, the person giving the x-ray steps out the room. Now,
Of course.
how can you zap a child with 36 x-rays over what period of time?
That's exactly what we questioned as a family. And
That
if
doesn't,
you, like I said, if you take a look at my YouTube channel or
yeah,
on my TikTok
right.
thing, you will see my daughter vocally saying, "You want to give my daughter 36 X-rays? That's going to harm her."
Cancer,
You have to watch
exactly.
the videos.
Okay, I haven't seen it, so this is new to me.
You
But
know, no,
yeah, just from
you know,
hearing you speak,
My question,
yeah.
just listening to the points that you've raised, sis Cheryl,
yeah.
do you have the feeling that we're not human to these people? I don't know,
Well,
Beth,
yeah, but
I mean,
it's an
there's
arrogance that,
no respect for us as
yeah,
human beings
yeah.
whatsoever.
But there's also this thing where it's almost
They
like
don't.
it's just given that you belong to them.
That's
And
right.
that is something that
Yeah,
I
because
find
it's
really
control.
disturbing.
See, it's the definition of slavery. All
Yeah,
of
it's
it
control.
comes under the
Yeah, it's the
definition of
plantation.
slavery.
We use the terminology plantation.
That-
When they ripped the babies away from the mothers
Yes,
and,
yes,
and,
yes,
and,
yes.
and wouldn't allow them to look after their babies. It's just like the plantation. Yes.
Yeah, 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 that's right.
and
Yeah,
you
and
know,
that doesn't seem to have stopped. I'm looking at the time, so it's
yes,
3 minutes to go.
we
So
have like 3 minutes and just over 3.5 minutes before we cut off, and then we can resume again, and
I'm
hopefully,
glad that you got good results on that though. But I don't like the 6 months nonsense. To me, that's still them still.
Yeah.
And I think maybe if you might, I would be expecting them to come with some more nonsense within those 6 months. That's what I would be
Yes.
expecting.
We're
So
expecting
I
it.
would
Yeah.
need to be thinking ahead to do what I can do to cut that tie, because they need to leave you and your children alone.
yeah.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
the other thing that occurs to me is that everything that transpired was for their benefit. None of it
Of
was for the
course.
benefit of the children,
Of the child.
or
Yeah.
you as a family. And that's one of the things. It's always about us benefiting these people. It's never about for us. I mean, they'll put you through all kinds of hoops and rigmaroles, and I mean the extreme levels that they go. And for me, it's been 20 years. But one of the things, and for Sister Cheryl, it's 10 years of experiencing so many injustices, and it is never for our benefit. They make it
Yeah.
appear. I mean, everything you've said, it's almost like they've worded it like the mother was a problem. But really and truly, your family had something that they wanted, and they
Yes.
went out of their
Yeah,
way. They would
tactics.
terrorize you in order to get it. That's
Yeah.
the kind of mentality that we're dealing with. And this is what we need to shut down. Because
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Black's Law Dictionary, I only just discovered this recently, but in that Black's Law Dictionary, we are defined as dead. As Black
Yes.
people, people of color, people, indigenous people, African, Caribbean people, we are defined as dead according to the Black's Laws Dictionary. So because of that, they actually feel that they can do any form of atrocities to us, and it's all good. It's all good. It doesn't matter what they do. They can terrorize us, they can steal from us, they can take our blood, they can do whatever they like. And this is what we have to start shutting down. This is why community assemblies, and just the community in general is so key, and how we respond to these types of situations. I mean, we're just about to cut off now, so we're going to come back for the next part. Hopefully we'll have Mark still back, and Sister Cheryl will share her personal experience. Thank you, Sister. I don't know if you'll still be on with us, and we're going to see if we can get Sister Lauren on as well. So please join us for the next part, everyone, until we come back to the third part. Thank you, everyone. See you in the...
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.